So we have our exam 2 coming up for ME 144 heat transfer class. Just want to discuss when this is going to be and what you can expect for this exam. So as we discussed before, there are two midterm exams for this course. The midterms will cover material up to each exam. So anything that we've talked about in the textbook, within the lectures, within the homework assignments are all fair game for these two exams for all material up until that exam. So these exams are designed to be the remote equivalent of an in-class exam. The exams will be released at a set time on Blackboard, after which you're going to have 2 hours to complete the exam once it has been started. You'll submit your final work through Blackboard, and the format that I'll be grading and the rubric I'll be using is the same as you've seen before for all your homework assignments and for your exam number 1. So let's get into the details for our exam number 2. Exam 2 will cover materials from our textbook in chapters 3 through 6, which relates to our modules 6 through 12 in our lectures. So this is all fair game for this exam number 2. These exams will be released on Blackboard. So the date that they'll be released is Tuesday, April 27th. So please take note of this. The new date for this exam number 2 is Tuesday, April 27th. It will be released on Blackboard at 9 a.m. Now, once you start the exam, you will have 2 hours to complete it. And this is automated by Blackboard. So if you started at 9 a.m., it'll need to be turned in by 11 a.m. But I'm giving a 3-hour block. And the reason I'm doing this is for students that are coming from another class or going to another class. They have a little bit of leeway. So this right here will be due at the very latest at 12 p.m. So if you don't start the exam until 10 because you're coming from another class, you'll still have 2 hours, but it'll need to be done by 12 p.m. for that case. You'll submit your final work through Blackboard, and the format will be the same as you've seen on your homework and your previous exam number 1. So students without accommodations or scheduling conflicts are expected to complete the exam in that 3-hour block from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. during that designated slot. And again, you only have 2 hours to complete it, but there is a 3-hour block. Now, if students do have accommodations, then extra time will be accommodated for them after 12 p.m. So if this is the case and you do have accommodations and it doesn't fit within this 9 to 12 period, please contact me individually and we'll make sure that you have the correct accommodations for you. Now, if you're a student with a scheduling conflict and need to start it later, this is possible, but please let me know in advance so we can schedule this. And again, you'll still only have a 2-hour block, and we'll still need to have this finished, in this case here, before 2 p.m. So this all needs to be done in the same day. I want to keep the same exam for all the students, so we're going to still use the same exam regardless of when you're taking it. So I want to keep that window very short. The other thing to know is if you are a student with an accommodation, you need more than the 2 hours, you can ignore the automated late thing, or if you're taking it outside of that normal block because you have a scheduling conflict, ignore the automatic late notification. The grader will be looking at this exam at the time you opened it and the time you submitted it to make sure it's within the correct 2-hour for the students without accommodations and whatever your accommodations are for students with the accommodations, and double checking that you are within that correct time block. So now I want to talk about academic honesty policy related to our exam number 2. So for this exam, there's only 3 reasons you're allowed to use your computer. So with this here, you can use it to access Blackboard, to access a PDF version of your textbook, or to send me a message with questions. Now with Blackboard, you can use this to open the exam, submit the exam, and to look at the lecture material on Blackboard. So these are the only things that you are allowed to do on your computer for this exam. You are not allowed to search for answers, solution manuals, Chegg, or any other source. This is cheating and it will not be tolerated. This goes against the academic honesty policy, so please reference this link here. The grader and I will be going through the exams and contacting every single student who turns in a suspect exam. And if we find out that you did violate this, you'll be given a 0 for the exam, and this will be reported as well. Now, as far as our grading rubric for the second exam, same as your homework, same as exam number 1, 10-point scale for each problem, 2 points for your format, 2 points for neatness, 4 points for the correct method or solving approach, and 2 points for the correct final answer.